Friends, I'm Hussein Lahari, and I'm here with Mr. Jim Lockheed. He is a humanitarian, and he has been working with children, women, and all the marginalized groups in various areas and various places. So today we are going to talk about the experiences of Mr. Jim Lockheed, the way he has been living, the way he has been learning, and the way he has uh, done his role uh, in various fields, and the way he has perceived world and the opinions of people. So, Mr. Jim, thanks for your time. So now we will talk about your experiences. Kindly share about your three experiences, three most precious experiences. I would say precious in a sense that experiences which were uh, beneficial for you, experiences which contributed in your life, and experiences which were like lesson learned for you.
Hello, I'm Jim Lockheed. Salam alaikum. Hello to everybody. I love everybody. I love every country. I retired at 62 in 2010 when the economy died in the US and new construction was down 90%. And I was able to collect my small pension and I took off for Italy. And ever since then, I have been traveling on 6 continents, helping real people. I'm a master carpenter, I'm a chef, I'm an artist, an architect. I've done quite a bit. I've designed and built 4 houses one for myself and for clients. I just spent 18 months in France where I built a set of oak stairs on a French national monument in Normandy, a castle, a chateau, the Beaucamp de la Jean in and in Normandy, France. And I have traveled on 6 continents. I lived 4.5 months in Fiji, building all sorts of furniture. I cooked and made my chocolate cake for as a birthday present for a young 5-year-old girl, and so I've been traveling around and helping people, all around the world. And rather than being a uh, a scholar that has his education in books at some great university and has some great documents, mine has been on the ground, helping real people. And and I even though I'm 73 years old now, I plan on continuing because I don't really believe in retirement. It's, we all have life and we want to live it, and whatever we can contribute, boy, the world sure could use it. And where I'm in a situation like when I lived in Uganda in 2014 and 2015, there were always children around, and it gave me, extra joy to be able to help what I call the most deserving.
So, I would like to start with your professional experience. Tell us about most important lesson learned uh, in your professional life, because you have uh, an extensive professional experience, and you have been working with various companies and various people. So tell us about your most important, which can be described as life-changing lesson learned in your professional life.
Well, I was in the U.S. Air Force in Germany in from 1968 to 1971, or 67 to 71. And when I got out, I got to join a carpentry crew and became a carpenter on Long Island. But then shortly after that, I moved to Los Angeles and I got into the Carpenters Union. And I was in Los Angeles almost the whole 70s. And that was a particularly important period in my carpentry development, because I was fortunate enough to catch on with a kind of a legendary crew, and these things aren't on TV. This is just in the real world. And I learned a lot, and I learned my work ethic, and my work ethic is quite it's quite strong. I'm always working hard, and I'm always learning a lot. And that was in Los Angeles, in San Fernando Valley. And then after that, I moved back to Long Island, and I was lucky enough to catch up with a guy and join him with a very small company, a miniature company that I ended up taking over myself, and he moved on. And then I had about 10 years on Long Island where I went from being a journeyman carpenter to being the owner of my own small company, a very small company. I designed and built 3 houses. I took a course in interior design. I took a drafting course, and then I had houses where I did so much of the work, including the designing, drafting, and engineering and architecture of the plans. Then after that, I moved to Florida in around 1989. And then my base has been in Florida since. But again, like I said, in 2010, I moved to Italy and was the permanent tourist there for 6 years. And it was from my base in Italy that I started my travels, to Costa Rica, to the Philippines, to Fiji, to Spain, to France, and so forth.
Yes. Then it must be very interesting working with various people. So after retirement, what you have learned,
Oh,
specifically after retirement?
well, in the retirement.
I know. You don't expect this thing that you are retired, but professionally,
Right.
the way you have been working, you are not working nowadays professionally, like with companies or governments. So tell us about the experience after your retirement.
Well, I've never been someone that cared about money too much. Of course, I wish I, made more than I needed, but this isn't always possible. And the construction industry is always up and down. So all my work in Europe has basically been volunteer work. And, and of course, the above and beyond, my work, which, I've got 50 years experience as a carpenter, but if you're traveling around the world, and if you're staying at the Marriott hotels and you're, at the Hilton in Cancun, you're not going to learn too much about the people, about the culture. But that's not how I act. When I visit these places, I live with the people. When I was in Fiji the last 2 months, I slept on the floor at 71 years old, and it humbles you in the most positive way. I have no illusion. I'm not trying to live a life of luxury. I live exactly like the people. And when you learn about these people, the Fijians, the Filipinos, the Costa Ricans, you learn some stuff that cannot be learned in books. One recent Chinese proverb I just came across was that it is a greater value to travel 10,000 miles than to read 10,000 books. And I thought that really described my life really well. And sometimes in life, you may have this resume that is almost endless, but you don't have a degree. And in the modern Western world, they don't seem to value experience as much as, that, if somebody holds a college diploma up, they all seem to bow and scrape. But, that's not my, I've been to Harvard. I've been to Harvard. I took a class in the summer. Joe Biden, the president of the United States, was in my class just after he got his hair transplants. I went to UCLA. I've taken drafting school. I've taken interior design school. I've taken so many years of language courses, 4 years of German, Spanish, Italian, Latin, French, 5 years of French. And so I have experiences learning that you're not going to get in school. And, and it was during my days early when I was in the Air Force that I had looked off into the distance when I was in Germany. And I said to myself, I don't hate the Vietnamese people. I don't even know them. How can I hate them? That's so wrong. And at that point, I separated myself from the Western dialogue. Oh, sure, I listened to TV and stuff for years and years, but it didn't affect me the way it affected most Americans or most Westerners. Your mic went off.
Yes, I'd like to say welcome to Miss Elsie Soleman. She has joined us
Great.
from Philippines. So she's here, and I would like to ask Miss Soleman that kindly turn on your audio. You're not connected through the audio. Then you may add your opinion, your suggestions, or even you can ask Mr. Jim Lochead about his experience. So, Mr. Jim, tell us about your experience working with children in Africa. You have been working in various, like Uganda and other countries. So, what you have learned there?
Yeah, I do this on my own. I don't do this for an organization. I don't do this for a religious group. So I had a friend in Uganda, and I had made plans, and I visited Uganda. In the house, there were at least 11 children all the time, and there would always be children visiting. I use my money. I use all my money to support people. This was a small village in Uganda. There's very little money. 65% of the people in this village have absolutely no money. So I used all my money. I built some of the first furniture for the children, and I baked cakes and cookies for the children. I introduced them to an American game called Slip and Slide, okay, which is one of the cheapest, most enjoyable games you could get for children. And all you need is a nice piece of 6mm poly vinyl sheeting to put on the ground, pretty much flat ground, and just put some water on it, and the children can slide across. You can't do anything but have fun with this. And so I set that up for the kids. So, if you give love, and I'm not a religious person at all. I don't, I love all the good things, I mean, I love the best of Islam. I love the best of early Christianity, because Christianity has fallen into Western imperialism, and the same is true with Buddhism and so on. And no religion is perfect in every way, but the basics, the root of these religions is really what keeps the tribes together, Exactly. And so I don't get caught up in the words, And so I do this just on my own. And if there are children around, they're going to get, they're going to get love. They're going to be treated with respect. They're going to be when I was in Uganda. I mean, this is a very, very small village. I mean, Pakistan understands this, but this is not Islamabad. This is like a village with 7,000 people in South Uganda. There isn't much there. And every time that we would go to the next big town where we would do shopping, which would be a 30-minute drive just to get there, the guys I was with, they would always take the same favorite kids, but I don't favor. I favor everybody the same, and I really watch out for the quiet kids and bring them up front. So I would always bring in 2 different kids each time I went into Masaka, and they would all get some kind of treat. But when I got back, all the kids got some kind of treat. That was pretty common. So, talking about, I coached football, soccer for close to 20 years. I also coached basketball. I also coached baseball. I also coached softball. I coached all my kids in these sports. And I always brought the small, quiet kids up forward. I never had a superstar. My whole team was superstars. I was not a good coach in a technical sense, but I was a coach that all the parents loved because they would tell me how patient I was. But it was a labor of love. And the kids that I taught in football and soccer, they learned to love the sport. They were only going to be with me for 1 year or 2 years at the most. They needed to earn the love of the sport.
Thank you. Thank you. So at last, I would like to ask you the last question. What you suggest all the humanitarian and all the people who are eager to work for the people, how they can contribute on maximum level for the humanity, for Mother Earth, and for the children particularly?
Well, in today's world, it's not surprising that we're being removed from our natural state. We've become less social. We're becoming smaller and smaller units. And I talk about the United States, and I don't harp on the deficiencies and the dysfunction of the United States because they're clear for everybody to see. But in the United States and around the world, old people are dying in facilities where they know no one visits them, and the people that are taking care of them speak a different native language. This is horrendous. This is horrible. So we have to get ourselves out of our chairs and we have to get outside. Pakistan, of course, understands this. Pakistan is an old society. It's more natural. China, Africa, these people don't live their days alone. They are always in communication with family and friends and community. But in some parts of the West, the people have become so disconnected and so alone. And now with this live exercise that they've been putting on, they're just hurting people more and more. The damage they're doing to children. This is a live exercise, okay? This is from IHR 2005. Yes, they did release a live pathogen that was part of IHR 2005 that 196 nations signed. But this is enough. 2 years is enough. You've tortured people. And if the people get together and have a lawsuit against the UN for producing this, the UN is going to be paying out about $100 trillion to the people of the world for stealing 2 years of their lives for an exercise that nobody who is sane would perform, introducing a live lethal respiratory pathogen upon the population as an experiment. Excuse me? Microphone.
Exactly, exactly. So, sir, thanks for your time, and it was wonderful to talk with you. The experiences you shared and the learnings you have shared here. So, we will be here with a new topic next time. So, thanks for your time and thanks for your precious experiences and the way you shared these
And,
ideas.
th- and thank you, Hussein, as
Thank you.
always. Okay.
Thank you,
And
sir.
and I just want to remind people that there is great hope up ahead. It's not being broadcast in the Western media.
Exactly.
Pakistan knows about it. There is great hope coming up ahead. I mean, you're not going to recognize things in 5 years. There's really some good things happening, and I want all the children. I want all the children to just hold on a little bit longer. There's good things coming.